I never expected a heartbreaking job offer from a millionaire to change my life forever. I'll never forget that morning. It felt like all the air had escaped from my lungs, each breath heavy and labored. I was sitting in my tiny, dimly lit apartment, surrounded by crumpled bills and unanswered messages. My fingers trembled as I crushed my phone against my cheek after the call ended. $1 million, they said. Just like that. A casual tone from someone I'd never met. The words echoed in my mind. The job is unconventional, but I promise it'll be worth it. Worth it? What did that even mean? There was something chilling in his voice, something that made my stomach flip. But my heart raced. My dreams of a happy life felt so close, yet so far from reach. Who was he? A reclusive millionaire, they said. Others whispered about his dark past, tragic events cloaked in mystery. I pictured him sitting in a grand mansion, surrounded by fine art and golden trinkets, a king in a fortress of solitude. What would it be like to step into his world? My skin prickled at the thought. I could not help thinking of my family. My sister, who struggled to make ends meet while raising her child alone. My mother's tired eyes that seemed to ask for help. I longed to pull them from their troubles, to gift them the life they deserved. The weight of need pressed down on my shoulders. Was I really willing to risk everything for a chance to escape my own misery? Then, my mind flickered to Liam. The way he held me, how his laughter seemed to echo in the air. I could almost smell the cologne he always wore, the warmth of his presence still lingering. But that was before the accident that shattered us, left me empty and afraid. Would he understand? Would he still love me if I took this leap into the unknown? The phone buzzed again, jolting me from my thoughts. My heart raced as I read the message from a friend. Did you hear? A girl just disappeared after accepting an offer from that guy. My breath caught in my throat. A chill crawled down my spine. Reality crashed in the danger lurking behind the glittering promise. Was it worth it? What if it all went wrong? What if I found myself standing in that mansion, looking into the torturous depths of a man's mind, one that might just want to keep me forever? I swallowed hard, wrestling with doubt and desire. A glimmer of hope. A terrifying gamble. What choice would I make? There was only one way to find out. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The next morning's sun filtered through the gap in the curtains, spattering my dusty floor with bits of light. I sat on the edge of my mattress, where the shadows of yesterday mingled with the dawn of today, thoughts swirling around like autumn leaves pulled by a restless wind. The offer loomed over me, a haunting specter. My phone lay silent beside me, but the weight of its potential was palpable. I reached out, fingertips brushing the cracked screen, the familiar buzz of uncertainty creeping into my chest. I hesitated, inhaling deeply, the air heavy with unspoken fears and dreams that had yet to be chased. In the kitchen, the kettle hissed, calling me to a ritual I had performed countless times, a brief comfort in the chaotic sea of my thoughts. I poured the hot water over the tea bag, watching how the colors mingled and expanded, swirling into a rich brown. Perhaps a sip of strength would sharpen my resolve, but as I lifted the cup to my lips, a knock echoed through the apartment, sharp and sudden. My heart leapt. Maybe it was Liam, coming to share moments worth believing in amidst all the fears? I opened the door cautiously, heart thrumming wild as I peered through the crack. It was a delivery man, none of the familiar faces of my daily life. "Package for you," he said, a hesitant smile tugging at his lips as he handed me a brown box. "Thank you," I murmured, not quite meeting his eyes. I closed the door, the weight of the package pressing against my palms as I set it on the kitchen table, curiosity mixing with anxiety. Part of me wanted to leave it unopened, to forget that gut-wrenching connection to the outside world, yet another part urged me to discover what secrets it held. Pushing aside my fears, I tore through the tape, my breath catching as I unveiled a simple yet exquisite key, a tarnished silver skeleton key resting atop a note stained with the fingerprints of a past life. "Everything worth having comes with a risk. Join me," was all it said. My heart raced. A flood of emotions swept through me: confusion, fear, a flicker of excitement. Was this the next step? How could I trust a man whose motivations remained cloaked in shadows? But a part of me could not help but feel drawn toward the unknown. I remembered my sister's struggles, the burden she carried so wearisomely. Could this be a way to lift her up, to give her hope? I glanced around the apartment. It was an arena filled with memories too painful to keep. The walls reverberated with echoes of laughter and sorrow, each creak of the floorboards reminding me of the domestic chaos that once held both light and darkness. Oppressive thoughts squeezed around my heart, and I felt a yearning deep in my soul. Just as I stood poised on the cusp of decision, my phone buzzed again, shattering the tense air. I stumbled back, fumbling for it, panic coursing through my veins as I prepared for the worst. "Did you hear? That girl who disappeared? Turns out, they found something." I stared numbly at the message, heart racing anew beneath the weight of every possible conclusion. My mind spun, dread clawing at my insides. I considered fleeing, running to Liam, seeking the comfort of his arms. But a voice within me resisted, whispering about the dreams unfulfilled and the hope that felt just out of reach. What if this ride into uncertainty held not just risk, but also an opportunity? What if he really could give me my family's life back? With trembling hands, I typed a response, the words feeling heavy as they lingered on the screen, the weight of my choice growing ever more pronounced. But before I could press send, my thoughts were interrupted by a soft tapping on the window. My heart stopped, a sudden swell of nerves coursing through me. I turned to look, and there, silhouetted against the morning light, stood a figure. It was Liam. His face looked drawn, stress shadowing his features in a way I hadn't seen before. A surge of warmth ignited within me, fierce, but the weight of the situation tethered me in place. He caught sight of me, desperation swirling in his eyes, their depth pulling at the very strands of my soul. "Let me in," he said, voice hoarse, urgency lacing his tone. And there I stood, heart racing, the unmade decisions behind me, a haunting future ahead. The room felt suffocating, yet the promise of hope lingered in the air. But should I let him in? Or should I step into my own destiny? As his eyes met mine, I could see a lifeline stretching out between us, yet an invisible chasm threatened to swallow everything whole. I could sense the fabric of my world shifting beneath my feet as I wrestled with my choice, the key to my fate clutched tightly in my trembling fingers. It felt like the calm before an unexpected storm, and I was caught in between a single moment that could unravel everything or weave a glimmer of hope into the tapestry of my life forever. The silence of the apartment was palpable, stretching like an elastic band ready to snap. Liam stood outside, his figure backlit by the soft glow of morning light, and while my heart surged with the promise of connection, doubt constricted around my throat. My mind raced with the implications of my next choice, the weight of everything unspoken hanging between us. "Please, I need to talk to you," he said, urgency lacing his voice. I could see his breath hitching in the cold air, and it sent a shiver through me. I hesitated, glancing back at the key on the table, the promise of something new wrapped around it like a fragile whisper, urging me to chase opportunity. But the warmth of Liam's presence held its own allure, a long-lost familiarity that beckoned me to open that door wide. With a deep breath, I turned the handle, opening the door to him fully and letting the morning in. He stepped over the threshold, and for a moment, the world outside faded away, the weight of our shared past drawing us into a cocoon of unspoken words and barely contained emotions. "You look," I started, but words failed to coalesce into something meaningful. His eyes, that warm rich brown, were shadowed with worry. "I can't stay away," he finally admitted, voice low and heavy. "There is something I need to tell you." I crossed my arms, unconsciously trying to shield myself from the raw honesty I saw flickering in his gaze. "What is it?" I pressed, heart beating erratically. I was unprepared for whatever he was about to share. It's about the disappearance. The news they found something. You need to hear this from me first. I swallowed hard, a knot tightening in my stomach. The news lingered uneasily, the rumors swirling like a tempest clouding my thoughts, and now they had coalesced into something tangible and terrifying. What do you mean they found something? He took a step closer, his eyes almost pleading. They found a body, your sister's body. Shock crashed over me, a wave of disbelief and horror that left me reeling. I staggered back, pressing my back against the wall for stability. No, it can't be her. I can't accept that. He stepped forward, concern etched deep into his features. They said it was too far gone to identify easily. But they think it's her. My voice echoed hollowly, the weight of grief pushing down on my chest like an iron suffocating my breath. Why would they connect her to? It's a long story, he began, his expression darkening further. But there are threads linking her to that neighborhood, the same place where she got involved with those people. My heart thudded painfully, a chaotic rhythm that echoed the jumbled thoughts racing through my mind. The world around us seemed to fade, consumed by the storm of emotions swirling within me. Anxiety, anger, and profound sadness clawed away at me, leaving me dizzy and disoriented. I have to go there, I blurted, desperation tearing through my composure. I have to see her. No. He interrupted, grasping my arms tightly as if to ground me. You can't. The risks are too high. The police are already working on this, and you'll only put yourself in danger. I raised my chin defiantly, the fire of determination igniting within me, unfurling amidst the ashes of despair. I need to know the truth. I can't let her memory fade without understanding what happened. Your safety matters more than this right now, he said, his voice tense. Let me help you. Before I could respond, his phone buzzed. A sharp sound that felt like an electric spark. The moment hung heavy between us, the tension swelling like a tide ready to crash. He cast a glance at the screen, his expression shifting abruptly. I have to take this. Take what? Liam, we're in the middle of something important. He shook his head, pulling reluctantly away as he stepped towards the kitchen counter, the light catching the worry lines on his forehead. I could feel my heart pounding with apprehension as he answered. What is it? I couldn't hear the reply, but his expression morphed, and dread curled itself around my heart once more. He was pale, his lips pressed into a tight line as if he were struggling to contain a storm raging inside him. What do you mean she was last seen? He repeated, his voice trembling. Where? I need to know more. I moved closer, my ears straining to catch the snippets of a conversation that felt like it was spiraling into a nightmare. Every word sharpened the already potent sense of loss, amplifying my need for clarity in a world that was sinking into chaos. Please, he whispered, voice cracking. You need to stay here. Stay here? I echoed, the incredulity bleeding through my tone. While the world keeps unraveling? What are you hiding from me? He turned abruptly, the intensity of his gaze pinning me in place. Sometimes the truth isn't what we want to hear. And this, he gestured to the tension swelling around us, isn't safe. I can't lose you too. There it was, every unspoken fear bubbling to the surface. The knowledge that love could shatter so easily beneath the weight of the unknown gnawed at me, pulling me into an abyss I was desperate to avoid. As he spoke, I caught sight of the key on the table, the vision of possibility fading cleverly into shadows. My resolve waned, swallowed by the prospect of lifetimes lost and destinies unfulfilled. Just as I felt myself teetering on the edge of despair, Liam turned from the counter, urgency brewing in his eyes. I have to go. I need to figure this out. As he rushed towards the door, I felt the ground shift once more beneath me. You can't just leave. Liam. Panic surged and clawed its way up my throat, desperation suffused with a haunting sense of foreboding. He paused, the door half open. A fleeting moment hung in the balance, tethered by our shared understanding of what was about to unfold. And then, just like that, he stepped outside, the door clicking sharply shut behind him. The silence enveloped me, grief settling like dust onto fragile memories suffocated by time. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone, breath ragged as I picked up the pieces of my scattered thoughts. The offer stood, looming in the background, a glimmer of hope in this consuming darkness. A chance to step away from the abyss and carve a new path, however terrifyingly uncertain it was. But as my thumb hovered over the screen, a different message popped up, one that sent a chill through my spine. Everything leads back to the key. Find him before it's too late. My heart raced once more, tension tight within me as I stared at the words, the call to action too urgent to ignore. The key had unlocked something darker than I could have ever imagined. And in that moment, I felt the world shift beneath my feet yet again, realization dawning painfully. This journey was far from over, and the shadows were closing in. The weight of uncertainty settled on my chest like an unwelcome guest as I stared at the screen, the message both chilling and potent with implications. There was more to this than I had anticipated, a hidden world lurking just beneath the surface of my life that I had barely begun to uncover. Find him before it's too late. The words echoed relentlessly in my mind as I sat there, the silence of the apartment suddenly suffocating. Dread and curiosity entwined, pulling me toward an unknown destiny that whispered promises of both danger and revelation. I could no longer bear the isolation wrapping itself around me like a shroud. Rising from the couch, I walked aimlessly through the familiar rooms, each one filled with memories of a time when laughter and warmth had danced freely. Now, those echoes felt like ghosts haunting reminders of a life in deep turmoil. With shaky hands, I picked up the key that had become a symbol of everything I could lose. The sunlight streaming through the window caught its edges, glinting unexpectedly like a beacon. Was this really my chance? Or was it the final turn down a road leading to heartbreak and loss? I needed answers, and I couldn't wait for Liam to return. The world felt too precarious, the pieces too scattered to leave everything in limbo. I was drawn to the message, urging me to dive deeper into the darkness. After a moment's hesitation, I opened a new tab on my laptop, fingers flying over the keyboard as I searched for anything linked to the key. But instead of clarity, I churned up a tangled web, filled with abandoned charities, underground activities, and whispers of misfortune surrounding the building that had once felt both charming and safe. The deeper I dug, the more connections I unearthed. Each friend turned acquaintance, each stranger linked to my sister, unraveling further and further into a chaotic spiral. I was on the precipice of something, a discovery that could unravel the very fabric of my understanding. Then the phone rang, shattering my concentration. It was an unrecognized number. A pang of nervous anticipation shot through me before I picked it up, hoping against hope it was some vital piece of the puzzle. "Hello?" I said, trying to steady my voice. "Is this your name?" "I have something important regarding your sister," a voice said, a calm yet eerie tone that sent chills cascading down my spine. That I leaned forward, heart racing. "Who is this? How do you know about her?" "I can't say much over the phone." "Are you alone?" My instincts screamed at me to hang up, but desperation and an undeniable compulsion drew me in. "No, I'm not alone, but meet me where the river bends at dusk. Come alone. I promise you'll want to hear what I have to say." With that, the line went dead, leaving nothing but silence and my ragged breath. Reality twisted around me, fear and intrigue colliding sharply. Was this a trap? Or could this be the lead I so desperately needed? I felt words caught in my throat, trapped between a decision fueled by desperation and a very real risk of danger. Leaving the apartment seemed equally terrifying and liberating, the weight of grief pushing me toward an action I had avoided for so long. Maybe this was the moment to reclaim the narrative, to take control of my shattered reality. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, I stared at the key once more, the object infused with possibility and dread. I had no clear plan, just a flutter of hope urging me on the chance to put together the pieces of my sister's life and fate that remained in the dark. With a determined nod, I grabbed a jacket and slipped the key into my pocket, my heart thundering violently against my ribs. Outside, the world was drenched in hues of orange and purple, casting shadows that seemed to call out to me. The path to the river was familiar, yet it felt charged with new meaning as I walked briskly along the shoreline. My mind raced with questions. Who was this stranger? What if they had the answers I sought? What if it led to something so much darker? But I understood something crucial this was about. Confronting my fears, reclaiming my autonomy in a situation spiraling out of control. Each step felt like a declaration of my intent to unearth the truth, however painful it might be. As I arrived at the bend in the river, I found a secluded clearing, the water glistening under the fading light, creating an almost serene setting despite the turmoil brewing inside me. Then, out of the shadows, a figure emerged, a hooded silhouette that caused my heart to stutter. "Are you your name?" the figure asked, voice low and metallic, barely rising above the whisper of the water. I took a step back, instincts on high alert. "Who are you? What do you know about my sister?" Instead of answering, the figure stepped closer, lifting their hood to reveal an unsettling familiarity. My breath caught in my throat, confusion and dread taking root deep within me. "Your sister, she was involved in something bigger than you realize. And if you don't listen to me, she won't be the last one lost," he said, his gaze piercing into my very core. Panic surged anew, as if the river itself were rising to swallow me whole. I opened my mouth to respond, but the cacophony of emotions smashed together, a torrential wave that threatened to drown my resolve. And then a sound broke loose, my phone vibrating harshly against my thigh. As I fumbled to pull it out, the blood drained from my face at the notification flashing across the screen. "Liam has been in an accident. You need to come to the hospital." The truth lay before me, tangled with uncertainty and regret. Realization crashed down as I understood the depths of the path I had stepped onto. I was caught between the desire to chase the truth of what had happened to my sister and the anguished fear of losing Liam. In that still moment, shadows closed in, and I knew with chilling certainty that the chaos had only just begun. The hospital corridor felt alien, sterile and cold, as I rushed through, the flickering fluorescent lights above casting a harsh glow on the faces of the patients and their families, each person a muted version of the turmoil within me. I had barely registered the stranger's cryptic warning about my sister when I received the news of Liam's accident, the weight of both revelations pressing heavily on my chest as I reached the waiting room, eyes scanning the sea of worried expressions until they landed on Jenna. Her face was pale, lips drawn into a tight line. Panic enveloped me as I hurried to her side. "What happened? Is he okay?" I asked, grasping her hand tightly, my heart racing as I searched her eyes for answers. "I don't know yet," she said, her voice trembling. "He lost control while driving. They're in surgery." Her words felt like a punch to my gut, the fear visible in her shaky demeanor. "They said it was serious." The word serious echoed like a relentless drumbeat in my mind, each repetition a reminder of the fragility of life. I felt as if the universe were crashing down, the last remnants of my once bright reality scattering like ashes in the wind. Would I lose him too? Just then, a doctor stepped into the waiting area, his expression grave. I held my breath, dread sweeping over me in an icy wave. My grip on Jenna's hand tightened further as I barely registered his words, each one slicing through the fog of my thoughts. "We've stabilized him, but he's in critical condition. We need to monitor him closely. You can see him in a moment, but he might not wake up anytime soon," the doctor explained, and the world began to spin. I felt an overwhelming urge to scream or cry, or both, but I was paralyzed by the weight of his words. Jenna pulled me into a hug. "I'm so sorry, I'm here for you," she said, and I could feel her pain, mirroring my own. "Why did he have to pick me up today?" I murmured, feeling my heart fracture under the weight of guilt. "If I had just gone alone." "Stop. You can't think like that. Accidents happen," she said fiercely. But the impulse to make sense of what had happened gnawed at me relentlessly. "We need to be strong." We sat in that waiting room, surrounded by whispers and muted phone calls, time sliding by as if slowed by our collective anxiety. For every minute that passed, fragments of the conversation with the shadowy figure at the river returned, a haunting echo that underscored the chaotic interweaving of our lives. What if there was a connection? What if finding the truth about my sister could lead to a way to save Liam? The moral clash within me grew unbearable. I scanned the corridor, half expecting that hooded figure to materialize in front of me, dragging me down yet another rabbit hole. I needed to know more, but the thought of abandoning Liam for half-formed secrets made my heart clench. As if reading my thoughts, Jenna squeezed my hand, her eyes wide with concern. "What's wrong? You look lost." "I can't shake the feeling that something bigger is happening," I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" "Earlier, a stranger mentioned that my sister was involved in something dangerous and that if I didn't listen to him, I could lose someone else." Just then, the waiting room door swung open, and another doctor stepped in, calling my name. "Your name," he said, beckoning me forward. "You can see him now, but he's in and out of consciousness. Be gentle." I took a deep breath, a rush of determination coursing through me. "Thank you," I said, nodding at Jenna before walking toward the room where Liam lay. Inside, the stark reality of beeping machines and sterile white sheets surrounded me. Liam's once vibrant face appeared pale and drawn, tubes snaking around him, his chest rising and falling with agonizing slowness. Tears pooled in my eyes, threatening to spill over as I grasped his hand. It felt impossibly warm, yet I was acutely aware of the fragility of his life at that moment. "Liam," I whispered, squeezing his fingers lightly. "Please, you have to pull through. I need you." My voice cracked, the vulnerability hauntingly raw. And in that silent space, I felt the ground shifting beneath me again. My phone buzzed in my pocket, a noise that felt misplaced in this life-or-death atmosphere. I fished it out, glancing at the screen, and my heart dropped. A new message from the unrecognized number read, "You've made the wrong choice. Your sister's truth is waiting, and time is running out on both of you." The thought of choosing truth over love twisted like a knife. I was standing at the edge, the weight of every decision looming large, threatening to unravel everything I had ever held dear. The reality was stretching beyond overwhelming, raw and twisted. "Liam," I whispered, feeling a sense of urgency clawing at me. I had to find a way to solve these mysteries, to keep my sister and Liam safe. As I gazed at his face so still, so vulnerable, I realized there was no escaping the path I had begun to walk. I needed answers, not just for my sister but for Liam's sake too. I took one last look at him, feeling the resolve grow into a quiet storm within me, before stepping out to confront the truth, and just as I turned, the doctor who addressed me earlier reappeared, his face serious and lined with something unnameable. "Your name, we need to talk before things escalate further," he began, and in that moment, it felt like the ground dropped out from beneath me once more. What could possibly escalate at this point? My heart raced as I prepared for whatever reality was about to unfold. The walls of the hospital felt as if they were closing in on me, their stark whiteness contrasting with the storm brewing within my heart. Every word the doctor uttered sent shivers down my spine, pulling at the frayed edges of my sanity. The urgency in his eyes told me what I already feared: the complexities of my life were multiplying, and I had stepped into an all-consuming chaos. "Before things escalate further," he continued, his voice low and steady, "there are aspects of Liam's accident that you need to be aware of. We've received some troubling information." "Troubling information?" I echoed, my voice catching in my throat. "What do you mean?" He glanced around the corridor, ensuring no one else could hear. "We've had a series of accidents with a similar pattern lately. Some report foul play. There's more to Liam's case than just a simple crash." My heart felt like ice. Foul play? That tangled up the fear I hadn't known was possible, a terror that scraped at the walls of denial I had built. "You think someone did this on purpose?" "I can't say for sure. But you need to be careful, both for yourself and for him," the doctor said gravely. "I recommend you keep your distance from situations that might put you in danger." Danger? The word tasted sour, twisting in my stomach. Was I meant to walk away, retreat from my quest for the truth? Just as I felt my courage wavering, an unexpected wave of warmth surged through me. "What about Jenna?" I asked urgently. "She's here for support, and she deserves to know what's happening too." His expression softened for a moment, as if he saw the fragile thread of hope I clung to. "Just be careful, your name. Trust can be risky in times like this." I nodded, trying to absorb it all. I felt an odd sense of clarity beginning to unfurl amidst the chaos. Intrigued by the doctor's warning, a granite resolve began to take shape. I needed to stay close to Liam and uncover the truth, not just to protect him, but for my sister, whose fate felt inexorably tied to this dark web I had unwittingly stepped into. As I exited Liam's room, a cool evening breeze greeted me through the automatic hospital doors, making me shiver. Once outside, I found Jenna seated on the edge of a waiting room chair, her fingers nervously tapping against her knee. She looked up at me with a flicker of hope mixed with dread. Is he? Her question trailed off. He's stable but critical. There's something more happening with the accident. The doctor mentioned potential foul play, I replied, my voice steady despite the whirlwind inside. I didn't want to alarm her further, but I could see the threat hanging thick in the air between us. Jenna's brows knit together, concern etched upon her features. What does that mean for him? For us? For us? I echoed, my heart racing. It means we need to dig deeper. I cannot let this slide. I won't lose anyone else. Do you really think it could be connected to your sister? She asked tentatively. I could hear the trepidation in her voice, the fear of what that might entail swirling around us. I have to find out. But I promise to protect you, Jenna, I said, squeezing her hand. We're in this together. Before Jenna could respond, my phone buzzed again, and I pulled it out to find another cryptic message waiting. This time it read, there are forces at play in your life, and they don't stop for love. One way or another, you will know the truth. My stomach dropped as I read and reread the message. They, who were they? The fragments of fear and confusion climbed beyond the edges of my comprehension. But amidst that tangled thread of despair, a flicker of determination ignited within me. I refused to be a passive player in this dark game anymore. That I glanced back into the hospital, where Liam lay fighting for his life and my sister's fate danced in the shadows. We need to find answers tonight, I said resolutely. We can start by looking into anyone he might have been with before the accident. Jenna's eyes widened. You mean? Yes, I want to talk to his friends. The people he was with earlier. I need to know if they saw something, anything that might clarify what happened. A mix of excitement and fear coursed through me as I envisioned myself stepping into Liam's world, facing whatever came next, but as I turned to lead Jenna towards the parking lot, my heart pounded, each beat echoing a warning. Just as I reached the door, a tall figure stepped out of the shadows, blocking our exit. A familiar silhouette that sent a cold chill coursing through my veins. It was the hooded stranger from the river. Nice to see you again, he said, his voice low and haunting. I warned you both. But now, you're in deeper than ever. At that moment, a wave of anxiety washed over me, and I knew I had stepped into something much larger than myself. The darkness was closing in, and the truth seemed to shimmer just out of reach, waiting to pull us both under. The hooded figure stood before us, the streetlight casting an eerie glow that danced over his features, rendering them ever more mysterious. My heart raced in synchronicity with my thoughts, a chaotic rhythm echoing my desperation and fear. Jenna's grip tightened on my hand as if she sensed the potential storm brewing between us, the tension palpable. Why are you here? I managed to stammer, my voice strained but firm. Because you're digging too deep, he replied, tilting his head as if appraising me, his eyes flickering with a hint of contempt. Curiosity isn't just a blessing, it can be a curse, especially when you're involved with someone like Liam. What do you know about Liam? Anger flared within me, a small, fiery ember igniting against the foreboding chill of his presence. Who are you? He chuckled softly, but there was no warmth in his laughter. Let's just say I know more than you could possibly understand. And Liam, well, he's tangled in something much darker than just an accident. You don't want to be a part of it. Our lives don't belong to you, Jenna interjected, her voice shaking slightly yet holding a tenacity I rarely saw in her. We'll figure this out ourselves. The stranger turned his gaze towards her, and for a moment, silence wrapped around us tightly, drawing out the intensity. I admire your courage, but it will only lead you to more pain. I came to deliver a message, your investigation will have consequences. With that, he turned on his heel and melted back into the shadows, leaving both of us reeling in the aftermath of his words. Did he just try to intimidate us? Jenna breathed, her eyes wide with disbelief. The chill that lingered in the air began to seep further into my bones, sending shudders through me. I don't know, but he's not wrong about one thing. It does feel like we're in over our heads. An internal conflict raged within me. My desire for the truth wrestled violently with a hesitant instinct for self-preservation. But we can't turn back now, I finally said, my voice barely above a whisper. Not with Liam's life hanging in the balance. Jenna bit her lip, uncertainty flickering across her face. Maybe we should just wait until the doctor says more, let them handle it. No. My voice came out sharper than I intended. We can't wait for more information that might never come. If someone is behind this, we need to act before they have a chance to strike again. Jenna looked at me as if she was torn, caught between her loyalty to me and the fear coursing through her veins. Just as I was about to reach out, to pull her back into my resolve, the private number flashed on my phone, the same one that had sent me the cryptic message earlier. That I answered it cautiously, steeling myself for whatever came next. Hello? Your name. You need to listen carefully, said a voice, laden with urgency. It was shaky, as if the person were standing on the edge of a precipice. Liam was involved with someone who knows too much. There are people who will do anything to keep their secrets safe. Who is this? I demanded, but the line went dead, leaving nothing but silence echoing in my ear. My pulse raced, the reality of the situation closing in on me. Who was that? Jenna asked, worry etched into her features. I don't know, I admitted, struggling to catch my breath. But we have to find out. Tonight. With renewed determination, we stepped towards the parking lot, navigating through the dimly lit spaces. Each step felt monumental, echoing my escalating desperation to protect Liam. My heart sank in the pit of my stomach. This was more than mere investigation, it was a battle for survival. Every shadow seemed to grasp at us, the adrenaline lingering like a bitter taste on my tongue. And yet, amidst the darkness, a tiny flicker of hope still sparkled within, the thought that uncovering the truth could still save us, could lead to something greater. But as we approached my car, a flash caught my eye on the windshield. A folded piece of paper lay waiting, a stark reminder that the shadows had eyes. I snatched it up, my hands trembling, the weight of it heavy with expectation. Jenna leaned closer, our breath mingling in the cool night air. What does it say? Let us find out, I whispered, opening the note with a mix of dread and anticipation. As I unfolded it, the words scrawled across the page sent my world spiraling once more. You're closer than you think. But the truth comes with a price. Meet me in the alley behind the diner at midnight alone. My heart hammered against my chest as reality set in. The stakes had just become much higher, and danger felt closer than ever. I looked at Jenna, uncertainty swirling in her eyes. I can't go without you, she urged, her voice tinged with fear. We might not get another chance. If this is going to save Liam, I have to take the risk. As much as I wanted to shield her from the darkness, I knew our choices had led us to this moment. So you're really going to do it? She asked, biting her lip to hold back her own fear. I have to, I replied, my voice softening with resolve. Stay here. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, call the police. Promise me. A tear brimmed in her eye, but she nodded. I could feel the weight of her love and concern like a burgeoning storm cloud, giving me the strength to move forward. As I walked away, the sense of foreboding enveloped me like a shroud. I was headed into the unknown, risking everything, heart pounding with both dread and determination. The truth awaited, and I could only hope it would lead me back to light, rather than deeper into the abyss. The alley behind the diner loomed before me, shrouded in darkness that swallowed the scant light from the flickering street lamp nearby. My pulse raced, my mind a whirlwind of uncertainty and dread. I glanced at my watch, the minute hand inching closer to midnight. The air was thick with tension. Would I find the answers I craved or plunge deeper into a web of dangerous secrets? A moment later, the hastily arranged meeting felt surreal. Living in a world filled with shadows was never something I'd envisioned, yet here I was, standing on the precipice of a revelation that could either save me or drown me. Just as I stepped into the alley, the cold wind swept through, its icy fingers reaching beneath my jacket, reminding me that danger could strike at any moment. I peered into the darkness ahead, every instinct screaming for caution. "Who's there?" I called, my voice echoing softly off the damp brick walls, betraying my inner turmoil. "What do you seek, your name?" came a voice from the anticipated dark. It was smooth, velvety, laced with a condescending familiarity that made my skin crawl. "Show yourself," I demanded, firming my stance despite the chill that crept into my bones. A figure emerged, stepping into the pale light seamless and precise, like he had synchronously melded into existence. He wore an impeccably tailored suit, his face masked by an aura of authority that sent a wave of unease coursing through me. "You've been asking questions," he said lightly, as if we were engaging in casual conversation, devoid of any tremor of threat. "But investigations can lead to dire consequences for the unprepared." "And you are?" I queried, unwilling to yield power with my uncertainty. "There's no need for formal introductions," he said with a charming smile that felt ice cold. "What you really need to understand is this: the truth has a way of changing lives. You're at a crossroads, my dear. Choose wisely." I clenched my hands into fists, fighting the urge to back away, trapped between my instinct for self-preservation and my devotion to Liam. "What do you want from me?" "A small favor, in exchange for information." He leaned closer, the gravity of his presence pressing down on me. "You see, the world you're entangled in has its complications, dark ones. If you truly wish to understand what happened to Liam, you must become a part of it." "You want me to get involved?" I asked incredulously. "Doesn't that put me and Liam in even more danger?" He smirked, demonstrating a troubling amusement at my fear. "Oh, you misunderstand. This isn't about protecting him, it's about revealing the true nature of what he has been entangled in. The connections he has formed involve people you cannot comprehend and forces that operate outside of morality. But you could peek behind the curtain only if you're brave enough." My heart thudded, a mix of anger and fear conflicting within. "You're asking me to compromise everything I've ever stood for." "Compromise is relative, my dear," he said nonchalantly, stepping even closer as if to invade my space. "What's a little betrayal in the grand scheme of survival? What I offer will ensure Liam remains safe, or you can choose ignorance and regret." The darkness around us felt oppressive, stifling choices that would alter my life irreparably. I could see myself faltering under the weight of his proposition, but somewhere deep inside, a whisper urged me to refuse. "I don't negotiate with fear." His laughter was sharp, echoing through the alley, bouncing off the walls until it enveloped me. Ah, the defiance of youth. Such a delightful ignorance. "But remember, my young friend," he said with a curious smirk, "the truth you're chasing will have consequences far more profound than mere fear." Without waiting for my reply, he turned on his heel, the darkness swallowing him as swiftly as he had appeared. I was left standing alone in the alley, my breath hitching with anxiety. What had just transpired defied all reason, and overwhelming dread closed in around me. I was just about to retreat, eager to find Jenna's reassuring presence, when a soft sound drew my attention from the corner of the alley. A ragged breath. I spun around, heart racing as I noticed a shadowy figure crouched against the wall. "Hello?" I called out hesitantly, fear creeping back as I approached. To my horror, as I drew nearer, I recognized the person hunched there, someone I'd never expected to see, someone linked to the very darkness I sought to uncover. "What are you doing here?" I whispered, my heart dropping as pieces of a horrifying puzzle clicked into place. "I thought I'd come to warn you," Liam's brother, Marcus, croaked with an unmistakable urgency. "You have to get out of here now." "Why? What do you know?" I stammered, but the air around us was suddenly alive with tension, an undeniable shift suggesting we were no longer alone. An explosion of light split the darkness just ahead, sharp and blinding, and I saw figures emerge, silhouettes that bore menace in their every advance. The weight of inevitability settled upon my chest like a stone. "Run!" Marcus shouted, gripping my wrist tightly, but as we turned to flee, the weight of the truth I sought hovered relentlessly just beyond my reach, threatening to crush us under its gravity. I was left grappling in the dark, the future uncertain as my heart pounded in time with the encroaching danger. Would I escape this time, or was I destined to become another lost soul entangled in the shadows? I stumbled backward, instinctively recoiling from the shadows of the advancing figures. The adrenaline coursed through me, sharpening my senses as I strained to decipher their forms. Were they friends or foes? The alley had morphed into a battleground of choices, each step dragging me deeper into the unknown. Marcus, still gripping my wrist, yanked me back to reality. "We need to go, your name. Now." His urgency was a lifeline, pulling me away from the grasp of fear that in the blink of an eye, I was bolting alongside him, our footfalls echoing like thunder against the damp pavement. My mind raced, a conflation of frantic questions battling for dominance. What warning did Marcus intend to share? What truth did he possess about Liam's entanglements? The enormity of the moment weighed heavily upon us, each second ticking by like a countdown to a terrifying conclusion. As we rounded the corner, I could hear the figures behind us crashing through the alley, their angry shouts trailing in the air like blades. An instinctive surge of survival kicked in, but a glimmer of hope flickered within me. Perhaps we could escape this night unscathed, perhaps I would gain the clarity I sought. "Where do we go?" I panted, casting frantic glances at the streets branching off from the alley. The dimly lit world around me felt alien and foreboding. Any moment, I feared, my past would drown me in its relentless waves. "Follow me," Marcus shouted, and without hesitation, I complied. He led us down a narrow side street, a maze of shadows and near-collapsed buildings cloaked in darkness. The tension of our escape enveloped us, but amidst the chaos, I felt a hardened presence beside me. In my heart, uncertainty clashed with budding faith in Marcus. He turned sharply, his wild eyes meeting my gaze. "I have to tell you something about Liam." "No time," I urged, panic rising as we stumbled into a small courtyard. The moon hung high, casting an eerie glow over the debris scattered across the ground. I didn't know if there was a way out. We could only stand together, the threat drawing ever closer. "His life is in danger, and it's not just because of what he's involved with." Marcus breathed heavily, terror palpable in his voice. "They're coming for you, to silence you." "Me?" My heart raced as I processed his words, confusion gripping me. Why would they want to silence me? "They think you know too much," Marcus admitted, his voice low, urgently filled with emotion. "The truth you could uncover, it's not just about Liam anymore. It's bigger than we realize, and you've caught someone's attention." Before I could respond, a noise broke through the tension. The shuffling footsteps grew fainter, then vanished altogether. We huddled together in a small alcove, the sharp chill of the night air stark against my overheated skin. My thoughts spiraled, trying to piece together all that had been laid bare amidst our frantic escape. "Where were you all this time?" I found myself asking, a surprising pang of concern mingling with my anger toward him. "You could have warned me sooner. I was trapped, too." "You have to believe me," Marcus implored, desperation etched into his features. "I tried to get to you, but things spiraled out of control. The people involved with Liam, they don't just play by the rules." His voice softened as he continued, "I never meant for you to be caught up in this mess. I had to find a way to keep you safe." My pulse quickened, brimming with an emotional intensity. Amidst the chaos, a wound of understanding opened. Marcus had suffered, intertwined with the same entanglements threatening us now. But how could I trust him? How could I trust anyone? Before I could respond, a distant sound slithered into our cocoon of stillness, the unmistakable hum of an engine drawing closer, headlights cutting through the shadows as a car turned into the alley entrance. The hollow thrum of dread clawed at me as I realized the danger had not merely followed, it had found us. "It's them." Panic surged in Marcus's eyes. "We need to split up. I can't let them take you, you have to run." "No, we go together," I protested, unwilling to abandon him to whatever lay in the approaching darkness. The resolve in me surged, driven by an unseen force of loyalty and empathy. He shook his head fiercely, urgency edging every syllable. I won't let them get you. You need to tell Liam what is going on, he has to be prepared. In that moment, the world shrank to just us. The weight of everything spiraled down to one unbearable choice: safety or sacrifice. Marcus stepped back, gearing himself to bolt in another direction. Marcus, no. I reached out, panic welling up as he turned away. My breath hitched in my throat as I realized the gulf dividing us. I could let him run into the shadows, willingly stepping back into danger, while I fled to safety, but was that selfishness or survival? I have to, he insisted, locking eyes with me fiercely. I swear, I'll find you, just please trust me. You have to get to Liam and warn him before it's too late. With that, he disappeared into the night, drawing the enormity of my fear with him. I was left standing there, trembling, uncertain whether to scream or run. Every instinct urged escape, but instead, I felt paralyzed, caught in a web of newfound doubts. Would Marcus be okay? With my heart pounding, I turned, deciding I had to act. I had to find Liam. But as I took a tentative step forward, the crackle of my phone vibrating in my pocket jolted me to a halt. I pulled it out, glancing at the unfamiliar number displayed on the screen. Something or someone had connected my past, present, and future in a way I never anticipated. Curiosity gnawed at me as I answered. Hello? My voice trembled, barely above a whisper as the world around me held its breath. Your name, came a voice I knew all too well, dripping with an unsettling calm. It's time we had a talk. The words sent a chill racing down my spine, a mix of dread and recognition as I recalled the enigmatic figure who had warned me in the alley. Who is this? I demanded, trying to anchor my pulse amidst the chaos swirling around me. You know exactly who I am, the voice taunted, smooth and chilling. But what you need to understand is time is running out. You have questions, and I have answers, but they come at a cost. My heart was thundering, clarity battling against the fog of panic that threatened to consume me. What do you mean? Answers about what? I could feel the shadows creeping in, pressing against my chest, wrapping me in a suffocating embrace. Answers about Liam. About your sister. About the life you've been living in ignorance. There was a pause, tension curling thickly around his words. Meet me at the old warehouse by the river, and I'll reveal everything. Come alone. You have 1 hour. The line went dead, silence crashing in on me like a tidal wave. My breath quickened as fresh horror flared. Everything I'd done had led me to this moment, the intersection of truth and danger bleeding into one. There was no choice, no retreat, only the path ahead, fraught with uncertainty and fear. Against the fading backdrop of Marcus's desperate goodbye, the urgency to warn Liam surged within me. I needed to unravel this twisted web, not just for him, but for the innocent lives caught unknowingly in it. The car's headlights cut through the night, illuminating my path as I raced toward the parking lot. With Jenna's car at my disposal, I gripped the steering wheel tightly, thoughts spiraling around ever-present shadows waiting at every turn. Time was ticking, and I had no idea what awaited me in that forsaken warehouse. As I approached the riverbank, I parked a distance away, taking a moment to gather myself. Everything felt like a tightening noose, the air thick and suffocating as I stepped out into the muted rustling sounds of the nocturnal world. Each step toward that old, crumbling structure felt like I was walking towards an impending storm, my heart a frantic beat of trepidation and resolve. Once inside the warehouse, the stench of mold and abandonment hung thick in the air, an unwelcoming reminder of the secrets that lingered within its walls. Dim light filtered through the grime-caked windows, casting fleeting shadows that danced mirthlessly around me. I peered into the depths of the warehouse, determined to confront whatever truths were waiting. Hello? I called out, swallowing hard, my voice echoing unnaturally in the cavernous space. Silence enveloped me, the anticipation buzzing like static in the air. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back, but a whisper of hope pushed me forward. Hope that I could unearth what had been hidden. Then I saw him, more a specter than a man, stepping out of the shadows. His presence was palpable, cloaked in sinewy confidence. You've come, he said, a smirk creeping onto his lips, unsettlingly calm amidst my turmoil. What do you know about Liam? About my sister? Every ounce of fear morphed into resolve as I stood my ground. I don't have time for riddles or games. You think you're ready for the truth? He challenged, his voice low but laden with menace. You've been chasing shadows, but what lies beneath is far darker. Let me tell you about the deals made in darkness. I clenched my fists, unwilling to be intimidated. Just tell me what I need to know. No games. No further delays. His gaze pinched in amusement. Very well. Your sister's disappearance wasn't random, and Liam's accident didn't happen by chance. They are connected. Here he reached into his coat, pulling out a small envelope, tossing it at my feet. That's the truth you seek. Inside are names woven into lies that stretch far beyond what you've ever known. Heart pounding, I crouched to pick it up. The contents felt weighty in my hand, filled with revelations that could shift everything. Once you know, he continued, voice hushed yet teasing, there's no unknowing. You'll never forget what you've learned. A flicker of regret flashed momentarily before his eyes. But know this, you're not the only one looking for answers. If they find you first, you won't live long enough to breathe. Who? Who is they? I pressed, a rush of adrenaline igniting my nerves. Powerful people who stand to lose everything if you unravel the truth. Familiar faces, fellow mourners pretending to sympathize while ready to strike. They'll stop at nothing. A pall hung heavy in the air, the enormity of the threat sinking in like lead. You're trying to scare me, I said, but doubt seeped into my voice as uncertainty clouded my thoughts. Fear is a tool, use it wisely. He stepped closer, the shadows swallowing sound. Taking the key to Liam's freedom won't be easy. The truth you uncover could destroy lives, including your own. My breath hitched in my throat as a realization struck me: the price of knowing the truth might prove far too high. But could I sacrifice everything, my attempts to shield Liam, my very essence, by ignoring the foreboding signs around me? I will look. My voice tremored, determination steeping into my words. I can't walk away knowing what I know now. I need to protect him. As the dread settled around my heart, I glanced down, swiftly opening the envelope. Names spilled forth, mixed with familiar faces and dark designs, a tapestry woven with threads of treachery. Remember, he said, stepping back into the shadows. The truth is both a weapon and a shackle. Choosing to wield it may bind you in ways you never anticipated. Choose wisely, little truth seeker. And just like that, he vanished back into the dark, leaving me alone in the remnants of shattered hope. Every heartbeat echoed in the silence, urging me to act, to return to the light before the shadows consumed the ones I loved. That I stood there frozen in a realm divided between light and darkness, a choice unfurling before me. Would I embrace the truth forged in agony and loss, or would ignorance pave a path to safety? With every ounce of vulnerability thrumming within, I slipped the papers back into the envelope and hurried back towards the entrance. Leaving darkness behind was a fight of its own. I had to protect Liam, to save him from both the truth and the lurking shadows eager to hold sway over our destinies. As I stepped into the penetrating night, the echo of my resolve resonated through the marrow of my bones. The truth awaited, and the shadows couldn't snuff out my light. I was ready to fight, to confront, to protect, to reclaim the power embedded in my own story, and with renewed clarity, I whispered into the night as the world blurred around me, you won't take him from me. Because sometimes the most powerful truth isn't merely what is spoken, it's the fight that ignites within you the determination to rise against the grim reality destined to drown you. And in that moment, I understood, would not back down, not now, not ever. And as the city pulsed around me, a voice echoed in the depths of my heart, resonating with every footfall echoing on the pavement. After every darkness descends a new dawn, and I would seize mine with everything I had.